We have a question here about spent nuclear fuel, and this person right here is asking, after you recycle it, how radioactive does it leave the spent fuel? Depleted or just decrease the half-life? It's a great question, and the sad answer is that it depends. It depends on how you recycle it. The traditional way of recycling is that you just remove the uranium and the plutonium. My preference would be a technique where you only leave behind the fission products. In other words, you remove also the minor actinides, anything like americium, californium, berkelium. The point is that those minor actinides tend to have certain isotopes with very long half-lives, and they can be burned for fuel. And so if you just use the cheaper plutonium and uranium and you recycle that, then you still have minor actinides left in the spent fuel along with the fission products. Now, the fission products, they're going to be dominated in terms of external dose rate by cesium and strontium. Strontium is a beta emitter. It decays into yttrium-90, which becomes also a beta emitter. And then the cesium is a beta gamma emitter. And those have a half-life of about 30 years, and those dominate the external radiation source term and the heat source term in spent fuel. The rest of the fission products generally have very, very short half-lives, measured in days, weeks, months, and years. There are some fission products which have very long half-lives. There are some trace fission products that have half-lives that are in the millions of years, but they're in extremely small quantities, so they only contribute a very small fraction of the heating or the dose rate from spent fuel. Now, ideally, you would continually recycle. So after you recycle it once, you'd recycle it again. You don't just recycle it once, as some industries do, like in France. You just do a once-through recycle. And any recycling is better than none, but it can be continually recycled. And if you did, and you folded in all the minor actinides, and you separated out the long-lived fission products for reburning or separate disposal so that it just becomes an extremely small amount, then that could potentially have other industrial applications. And so in a sense, it can be incredibly sustainable, especially if we had any kind of breeder reactors where we fold in all the depleted uranium, because the current fuel cycle requires that you enrich the uranium in uranium-235, which is a trace isotope in natural uranium. And you have to enrich that trace isotope. Instead of being 0.7%, you got to get it up to about 5%. And in doing that, you generate waste uranium, which is called depleted uranium, which instead of having 0.7%, it will generally have 0.3% of the uranium-235 or less. And it's largely just a waste product. It's what is often used for munition or shielding today, depleted uranium. But that could be turned into electricity through breeder reactors. So recycling is a very attractive option. It's just that since we've abandoned it for so long, it's expensive. We haven't done research to make it cost effective. And not having done it, there's issues with making new facilities. It would be a very large build, and apparently any large build of construction these days is going over budget and over schedule simply because the prices of concrete and steel and so forth tend to be on the rise. At least that's my understanding anyway. But on the concept of recycling, from a sustainability point of view, it is definitely, in my opinion, absolutely the way to go, because even though uranium is fairly abundant, 3 parts per million, being more abundant than tin, that doesn't mean that you just want to, willy-nilly use it and throw it away. You want to be able to get as much energy out of it as possible, and that would require a robust, safe, regulatory compliant recycling capability to make fuel that's going to be mixed oxide fuel, or that will even potentially utilize these new molten salt designs that will have a harder spectrum and allow you to be more effective at fissioning more of the actinides that are in the fuel. So I hope that answered the question. I hope everybody learned something and enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching. Have a good day. Bye.